From all of us at Coin 6 News.
Election day again.
There are 25 votes for George W. Bush for President of the United States.
As the Electoral College makes it official, the president-elect goes to the center of Washington power. A CBS News exclusive, a one-on-one exit interview with the outgoing president. On Wall Street, the Dow soars. We'll tell you why. And Eye on America looks in depth at Alzheimer's, the pain, and the hope.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting tonight from Washington.
Good evening from Capitol Hill. George Bush came here today for the first time as president-elect. It is ground zero as he breaks ground for his new administration and tries to build power in Congress. Toward that end, Bush met with congressional leaders of both parties and with the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Alan Greenspan. Despite the reservations of congressmen about Bush's big tax cut plan, the talk for today at least was upbeat. Bush meets tomorrow with President Clinton. A short while ago, in a one-on-one exit interview for 60 Minutes 2, President Clinton told me the Bush presidency deserves, quote, a good start. First about Bush in Washington. CBS's John Roberts begins our coverage. John?
Dan, when he meets with President Clinton tomorrow, President-elect Bush will bring to the White House his pledge to heal a divided nation. Meeting with congressional leaders earlier today, Mr. Bush's intentions were a little more pragmatic.
The president-elect roared onto Capitol Hill with a mission today to build the bridges he'll need if he hopes to make good on his campaign promises.
I hope they realize that this isn't a single photo opportunity, and then maybe we'll see each other and talk to each other in the future. That's just not the way I do business, and I wanted to come and look him in the eye and say that.
Republicans embraced his calls for unity. Publicly, the Democratic leadership said all the right things.
It's an opportunity for us to wipe the slate clean, to begin anew.
The visit was cordial, but it was clear that on the issue of who legitimately won the election, tensions still linger.
I believe in January the 20th, not too many steps from here, he's going to be sworn in as the next president of the United States. I don't know how you can get more legitimate than that.
If nowhere else, Bush's Washington hotel rolled out the red carpet, ready to receive the president-elect and all those applicants for cabinet positions. Top picks, according to Republican sources, former Indiana Senator Dan Coats for Secretary of Defense, Oklahoma Governor Frank Keating for Attorney General, and New Jersey Governor Christine Whitman for either Labor, Health and Human Services, or U.S. Trade Rep.
I'm talking with a good man right here.
The president-elect began his day with a breakfast briefing on the wobbling economy from Fed Chairman Alan Greenspan. Greenspan has been critical of Bush's plans for an across-the-board tax cut. But all day long, Bush was stubbornly optimistic about it.
I look forward to making my case to both of the leaders on the Republican side and Democrat side that marginal rate reductions will help spur economic activity and economic growth.
The president-elect is also preparing for his obligatory meeting tomorrow with Vice President Gore, an attempt to show that despite a bitter and even mean-spirited post-election battle, the two can shake hands and move on. Dan?
John Roberts. In front of the cameras today, the president-elect and congressional leaders all seem to be singing the same tune. We can work it out. Let's get the real deal from CBS's Bob Schieffer, who's also here on Capitol Hill tonight. Bob, what are they saying off camera?
Well, Dan, it's interesting. Off camera, the Republicans, you know, they really don't know George Bush. He kind of kept them at arm's length during the campaign, but they said that was kind of a get-to-know-you session. They said he was fairly reflective. He talked about how this post-election period, he said, it made him a better person, a stronger person, and a more patient person. They liked that. The Democrats also seem to think he set the right tone. When he talked to them, he told them privately, look, I'm really serious about pushing this tax cut plan. It's what I campaigned on. But he also told at least one of them, I know you have to compromise to get things done. So they liked that. I think he also thought it went well. I'm told that after he left the Capitol, he got on his car phone and called the Democratic leader, Dick Gephardt, back and said, I want you to know I really did enjoy it. I really do think we can work together. So I think he took an important first step today, certainly so in the mind and eye of the Democrats. And I think it's going to be a long way to go, but it is a good first step, Dan.
Well, Bob, talk's cheap. Will anything really come of it?
You know, the Democrats say they believe they can get the votes together to join with the Republicans and kill the marriage penalty tax. They think they can also get the votes to substantially reduce those inheritance taxes, what the Republicans call the death tax. They say they can't eliminate it altogether, as the Republicans want to do, but they can make a substantial reduction. We'll have to see.
Bob Schieffer, thanks. In a normal presidential election year, this would have gone largely unnoticed. This year being anything but normal, television cameras were there today to record the meeting of the Electoral College. Electors met in all 50 state capitals and in the District of Columbia and officially elected George Bush the 43rd President of the United States. The 42nd President, William Jefferson Clinton, will leave office in just 33 days after 2 full terms in the White House. I sat down with the President today in the Oval Office for an exclusive one-on-one exit interview for 60 Minutes 2. We want to play part of it for you tonight. Most of it will be played tomorrow night on 60 Minutes 2, but I want to play you the part where I asked him about the U.S. Supreme Court decision that, in effect, handed the presidency to George Bush. Were you surprised that this Supreme Court ever took the case?
Well, let me say, I think most lawyers, or a lot of them, were surprised they took the case. Even those that were surprised they took the case were shocked when the vote count was stopped on the Friday.
Were you?
No. No, not after 8 years in Washington. I wasn't. They had the power to do it, and they did it. And it's done, and we should accept it because the country has to go on.
Let's talk about the economy. You know, as I know, that in politics, a lot of it is trying to pin the tail on somebody else. This economy goes down even a little. It's fairly clear that the tail's going to be, at least going to try to pin the tail on you.
Well, they'll have the microphone, of course. I personally believe that no one knows how long we can keep this recovery going. But the overwhelming majority of the experts believe that we're going to have a pretty good year next year.
You're in favor or not in favor of a cut in interest rates now?
I have, for 8 years, I have refused to second-guess the Fed publicly, and I don't think I should change as I'm going out the door. My point is, the thing that keeps interest rates really low is the fact that we're paying the debt off. That'll keep interest rates low, inflation low, and if we keep investing in education, investing in technology, investing in scientific research, staying on the cutting edge of change, and opening new markets around the world, something I think that this incoming administration and I agree on, I think that we got quite a bit of life left in the economy. The American people are still working hard, and they're very innovative, so I expect them to have a good year next year.
In our wide-ranging conversation, the president talked about his family and the future, about impeachment, Monica Lewinsky, about his legacy and his hopes, and much more. We'll have more of it for you on 60 Minutes 2 tomorrow night at 9, 8 Central Time here on CBS. On the CBS Market Watch for the evening news this evening, this was a very mixed day on Wall Street. Tech stocks faltered again. The Nasdaq fell 28 points, but the Dow surged more than 200. Is it at least part because of expectations that the Fed may cut interest rates and also because of a meeting? CBS News' Anthony Mason has our report.
It was only a photo op, but for a worried Wall Street, it was the perfect picture. At last, a president-elect paying respect to the street's favorite Fed chairman. That helped propel the Dow to a 200-point relief rally today.
The big concern here was, or fear, was that we were going to go from concession to recession without a stop in between.
Manufacturing has been slowing down, and though sales signs are up in malls across America, shoppers aren't biting. Economists say the math isn't pretty.
Well, they add up to an economy that's really losing steam very, very fast.
Goldman Sachs economist Ed McKelvey sees two worrying signs. First, unemployment is creeping up. Gillette said today it will cut 2,700 jobs. Insurance giant Aetna announced it will let go of 5,000 workers. Second, consumer confidence is slipping. Lackluster Christmas sales are a sign shoppers don't like what they see ahead.
We've had a nice bid with Clinton, and now I think it's going to go down. I just hope that I'll pay off my credit card bills before anything happens.
We think that there's probably a 1 in 3 chance that we could be in recession sometime early next year.
Wall Street doesn't like those odds, which is why stocks have been unable to sustain a long-term rally. PaineWeber's Arthur Cashin says
there's an underlying anxiety that this thing could slip from a soft landing into a bumpy landing and, heaven forfend, into a crash landing.
the Fed meets tomorrow, and Wall Street is hoping for a strong signal that an interest rate cut is coming. Some economists believe we need that interest rate cut right now. Dan?
Anthony Mason in New York. For nearly a century, the auto industry has been a pillar of the U.S. economy and automakers the bluest of blue-chip stocks. But despite today's jump in the Dow and despite this year's unprecedented car sales figures, CBS's Cynthia Bowers reports that a look into Detroit's crystal ball may make investors blue.
It's been a record year for the automobile industry. More cars were made and sold in this country than ever before. But analysts say this could be the end of the line.
We're going to sell about 17.3 million cars and trucks this year, yet the American car makers seem to be in trouble, and we've never seen anything quite like it.
Daimler Chrysler says it expects fourth quarter losses of more than $1 billion, prompting the chairman of the company to send a letter to stockholders asking for patience. GM, expecting sharply lower profits, has already announced layoffs and the scrapping of the venerable Oldsmobile line. It appears success is at the root of the problem. After 5 years of unprecedented sales, automakers actually overproduced to meet demand and now find themselves stuck with enormous inventories.
Consumer demand is pretty much evaporated at this point. Everybody who really needs a new car and truck has already bought one.
A big reason so many cars have sold this year is that manufacturers are offering huge incentives to lure buyers. But what has been good in the short term could prove to be costly down the road. For example, in 1995, the average customer was offered incentives of about $800. This year, that number has soared to more than $2,500, which means automakers are stuck with shrinking profits and buyers who have come to expect deep discounts.
I don't think you'll see any backing off. I think it's full steam ahead for incentives. They're here to stay. They're never going to leave.
But with a slowing economy, car makers are now wondering how much more it will take next year to drive already skittish customers into their showrooms. Cynthia Bowers, CBS News, Chicago.
Still ahead on the CBS Evening News from Washington, the Cold War is back, and they're dressed for battle. And we began an in-depth series on Alzheimer's disease, including the latest treatments.
It affects millions of people each year, and yet many don't even know they have it. It's called high blood pressure. And while we've learned a lot about high blood pressure, medical research continues so we might someday eliminate this silent killer. If you have high blood pressure or you think you might have high blood pressure, we'd like to talk with you. Qualified participants will receive a study-related medical evaluation and study medicine. To learn more, call toll-free 1-877-BP for life.
I've got this life philosophy. When you get thrown, you get right back up. That's why I took control with Depend Protective Underwear. Just like regular, same soft feel, same snug fit, and an absorbent panel built right in. So I don't have to worry. Except for the 500 head I gotta herd. Take control with Depend.
I've had the same lawnmower for 20 years.
And the same car for 14 years.
And the fridge?
Oh, the fridge.
Bought it cheap in '62.
Nothing lasts forever.
Still looks great.
We need a new one.
At your local brand source store, great value, selection, and service allow you to focus on the more important things in life.
Now, about the car.
It's a classic.
Like my husband.
Brand Source. We're your neighborhood expert.
I'm ready as anybody can be. I'm ready as anybody can be. Yeah.
Are you ready to ask your doctor about Viagra? Get ready.
All right.
Ask your doctor if a free sample of Viagra is right for you.
Well, I'm ready for you. I hope you're ready for me.
When you have shrimp and crab claws coming together, you have yourself a spectacular holiday party.
Pick up a Red Lobster party platter and go overboard.
If it isn't purple, it isn't Prilosec. Isn't it Prilosec time for you? Ask your doctor about the purple pill they call Prilosec.
It's a chilly but nice night here in Washington, but the CBS Weather Watch shows the nation's capital is in the path of new storm systems that are dropping temperatures and more heavy snow from Minnesota to Tennessee. Some of these areas are still reeling from the last round of storms. And as CBS's Jeffrey Kaufman reports, the Weather Service says, better get used to it.
Winter's not even officially here yet, but in some parts of the country, it just won't go away.
Every time we plow something, it just comes right back up.
In Nebraska, they are trying to dig out from the fourth winter storm in a week. The entire Midwest is under a cold and snowy siege. With wind chills dropping as low as 50 below zero, winter is already shattering records and leaving people shivering.
I got about 4 shirts on. I got 2 pairs of socks on.
When Jack Kelly and his colleagues at the National Weather Service release the official winter forecast tomorrow, their message will be simple: bundle up.
We're back to an old-fashioned, typical American winter. What's happened is we've had a couple of years of pretty mild winters, and we tend to forget what it's been like.
Remember El Nino and La Nina, the moderating currents over the Pacific that brought us those warm winters? Well, they're gone, which is why the National Weather Service is predicting a winter of extremes. Colder across the Midwest, wetter in the Northeast, warmer in the southern states, and warmer and drier in Florida. Some of those extremes surfaced over the weekend with flash flooding in Maryland and Pennsylvania and a string of tornadoes near Tuscaloosa, Alabama that left 12 people dead.
This has been a year of variability and climate extremes throughout the country. It came in like a lamb, and it's going out like a lion.
If you live in the northern half of the country, brace yourself, because that lion is going to roar again. Another major winter storm is expected by Wednesday. Jeffrey Kaufman, CBS News, New York.
If you saw the dramatic photograph of 6-year-old Whitney Crowder's rescue from the Alabama tornado wreckage, here's an update on the tragedy beyond the picture. A week before Christmas, her father and younger brother are dead, her younger sister is critical, Whitney herself is in serious condition, and so is her mother. CBS Next from Washington, coping with Alzheimer's. There is no cure, treatments are few. CBS's special Eye on America series begins next.
The CBS Evening News and tonight's Eye on America segment are sponsored by Aflac. Without it, no insurance is complete.
Want to start a family?
Right now?
I just got supplemental insurance.
What's that?
Aflac. Well, if we get sick, our health insurance won't cover things like lost pay or other expenses. This does.
What's it called?
Aflac! I don't know.
Aflac. Without it, no insurance is complete.
If your pencils look like mine did, there's something you can do. Ask your doctor if the Nicotrol inhaler is right for you. Or for more information, call 1-800-INHALER. Call today.
With Hotmail on your MSN homepage, you can check your email wherever there's a web connection. That's why it's the most popular email the world over.
Every time I tried to quit smoking, I chewed up more pencils. So my doctor gave me a prescription that, for the first time, makes me feel in control of my cravings. Ask your doctor.
Break the habit. The prescription for help is at hand.
Introducing Saran Quick Covers.
Cover your lasagna. Cover your pizza. Cover your cantaloupe. Cover your watermelon. Cover your salad.
Saran Quick Covers are the fastest, easiest way to cover just about anything in a snap.
Cover your leftovers.
stretch easily, they snap snugly. New Saran quick covers. Now you're covered for the holidays. S.C. Johnson, a family company.
If it isn't purple, it isn't Prilosec. Isn't it Prilosec time for you? Ask your doctor about the purple pill they call Prilosec.
My dry, itchy skin would flare up. I just wanted to hide.
Cordate helps heal and protect dry, itchy skin fast with maximum strength medicine and special moisturizers.
My skin was healed.
First aid, fast aid, Cordate.
No bull. Scientists at Texas A&M say this bull calf is the first to be cloned specifically to resist 3 diseases that commonly infect cattle around the world. The disease-resistant calf was cloned from genetic material taken 15 years ago from another bull. Here in Washington, a joint U.S.-European panel on gene-altered food called today for mandatory labels on all biotech products. The panel said, and I quote, "Consumers have the right of informed choice, but the U.S. FDA says such labels should be voluntary." Health experts are predicting an explosion of Alzheimer's disease as baby boomers age and Americans overall live longer. Live into your 80s and you have a 50% chance of getting it. Tonight, CBS's Elizabeth Callahan starts a 3-part Eye on America series looking in depth at Alzheimer's and its impact on the nation and individual lives.
This is the design we're going to make.
It's a test any school-age child could pass. But for Glenn Bell, who was once an artist, copying the simplest of designs is a major challenge.
Do these two look the same? Your blocks and my blocks?
Probably not.
Glenn has Alzheimer's disease, and at age 56, she is slowly but surely being robbed of her mind.
I know what it is, but I can't say what it is.
The word for that starts with the sound. Heh.
Helicobacter.
The cause of Alzheimer's disease remains unknown, but the leading theory is that a protein called amyloid builds up in the brain, forming plaques that disrupt communication between brain cells responsible for learning and memory. 4 million Americans are suffering from Alzheimer's, an illness many believe to be the disease of our time, a cruel byproduct of our great success at extending life expectancy. We're seeing more cases because we're living longer and are better at diagnosing it. But there is no cure.
If the disease goes unchecked, by the middle of this century, there'll be upwards of 14 to 16 million affected individuals. That may take the entire gross national product to care for them.
Dr. Norman Relkin is an Alzheimer's specialist at the Weill Cornell Medical Center in New York City.
Touch your nose.
He sees hundreds of patients like 71-year-old Ruth Becker, diagnosed 6 years ago.
It's a loss of self, and it's a gradual loss of self. It begins with a fading of all the things that make up personality.
She used to go out and shop and come home and cook. And then just one day, she came home and looking for the packages, and she didn't have any packages with her.
Today, she can't find her way around the kitchen.
This one right here, sweetheart. Open the door. This one.
She understands questions and laughs at all of her husband's politically incorrect jokes.
If she makes a mistake, I hardly ever hit her.
But can't articulate her feelings.
Do you remember how you felt when they told you you had Alzheimer's disease?
Yes, I did have a problem from that. And I began to start, stopping. Well, we're lucky to be here.
Her husband, Bob, leads her through her days by the hand.
Isn't that pretty through the woods there with the light?
Filling them with the comfort of routine and abundant patience and love.
Should we buy a place up here? Yeah.
As he watches his partner of 47 years drift away.
There's something that's just not there. You can't correct something which doesn't exist. So you deal with what's there.
It's the Beckers' reality, the challenge of living with Alzheimer's disease. Tomorrow, the challenge of treating this disease of our time.
Oh, this is so nice.
In North Salem, New York, I'm Elizabeth Callahan for Eye on America.
Coming up next on CBS, 2 first ladies prepare for a residential transition.
he's thinking.
How long is this gonna take?
There he goes. Mini pizza?
Well, as long as I'm here.
Smoked sausage?
Just a taste.
Salsa?
Fiesta time.
Because life's full of surprises, some pleasant, some not so pleasant, there's Pepsid AC. And unlike Tums, Pepsid AC works on heartburn anytime, before, during, or even after the start of heartburn.
Many pizzas. Ow, five.
Today should be heartburn-free with Pepsid AC.
Nothing brightens your child's day like their favorite songs.
I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my
Now Time Life Music brings you a new collection. 100 Best Love Songs for Kids for just $24.99. Imagine owning every one of your children's favorite songs all in one collection.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily.
You'll get all their favorite playtime songs.
I've been working on the railroad
All those great sing-along songs.
There was a farmer, had a dog, and Bingo was his name. Oh, B-I-N-G-O.
And all of the best loved lullabies.
Goodbye, baby, on the treetop.
100 songs for kids on 4 CDs or 4 cassettes for just $24.99.
Here we go, looby-loo. Here we go, looby-light. Here we go, looby-loo. All on a Saturday night. Do you know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man. The Muffin Man.
100 songs for kids. If you're not completely satisfied, Time Life will refund every penny of your purchase price.
Oh, where has my little dog gone? Oh, where?
So call now for 100 songs for kids.
Incy Wincy Spider went up the water spout.
To order 100 songs for kids, call 1-800-435-5577. That's 1-800-435-5577. Or send $24.99 for 4 CDs or 4 cassettes, plus $4.99 shipping and handling to 100 Songs for Kids, Department 3, Richmond, Virginia, 23280.
Tonight at 6, find out how you can get to the airport this week with less hassle. We'll show you coming up tonight on KOIN 6 News at 6.
There's more to a presidential transition than naming a cabinet and meeting with Congress. There's also domestic policy of the sort traditionally handled by the First Ladies. Incoming Laura Bush and outgoing Hillary Clinton got their transition going today over tea. Thanks to her father-in-law, Mrs. Bush already knows her way around the White House. She's even slept in the Lincoln bedroom. The Clintons will move out of the White House next month. But as senator-elect from New York, Mrs. Clinton needs a place in Washington, so they're house hunting, or rather mansion hunting. They're considering a 130-year-old home in the exclusive Georgetown district. 9 bedrooms, 7 baths, $4.4 million. The president told me today that they'll keep their place in Chappaqua, New York, and that so far as he knows, they have not yet bought a house in Georgetown, part of our world. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News, reporting tonight from Washington. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.
A surprising new study on cell phone safety tomorrow. Experience CBS News.